Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are taking our very first look at the new legendary tier German battleship Preußen. So without further ado, let's look at our commander. We are running, it's Moist Critical, but it's not Moist Critical, that's a guise. It's actually Hyde. We are running Henry Hyde. We have Andrew Cunningham and Paolo de Revel on here as inspirations. We have Flammable Cannoneer. We're running Aladad. We've got Marksmanship. We've got Master Mechanic. And we have Fight Fire with Fire. For our overall equipment, we are running Aiming Systems Mod 1. We are running Steering Gears Mod 2. We are running the Concealment System Module. And we have the Epic Main Battery Mod 3. You will lose a little bit of your traverse speed because of this, but it's worth it in the end. For every 30,000 damage you do, you're going to get a little bit faster reload on these already fast reloading 18-inch guns. So, yeah, it's not too shabby. But here's the rest. We have 7 planes. Now, if you want to run Arthas to get a little bit more damage out of these guns, I get that, but remember, the planes did just get a nerf. So Arthas is not going to be as nice as it has been. We are running the camo, the Science Titan camo, the new camo for the event or whatever. And then we are running the Italian Unity flag, because if you squint just right, kind of looks like a Spartan helmet. Specs: survivability, 100,630 hit points with a 25% torque reduction. Artillery, you're running 457mm 52 caliber SKC 34s. 19.1 kilometer range with this build with a 20.5 second base reload. And that only gets faster. These are 18-inch guns with a 20-second reload. That's kind of crazy. 180 degree turn time, 35.3 seconds. HE shell maximum damage, 5,450 with a 45% chance to set fires. AP shell maximum damage, 15,250. So these are pretty stout rounds, okay? Keep that in mind. Secondaries are not quite as good as the Gross Kurfürst, however. You have 128mm 61 caliber KM40s. You get 20 of those, reaching out to 6.3 kilometers with this build with a 4-second reload, maximum HE shell fire damage of 15% or 1,500 and a 5% chance to set fires. And then, of course, you have the 150mm L55 SKC-28. You get 8 of those, reaching out to 6.3 kilometers, reloading in 7.5 seconds, doing 1,700 damage with an 8% chance to set fires. AE defense is actually not too bad. 30mm flak 103-38s. You get 8 of those, doing 40 damage per second, reaching out to 3 kilometers. Then you have the 30mm flak 38s. 24 of those, doing 86 damage per second, reaching out to 3 kilometers. Then you have the 55mm L77 Girat 58s. You get 6 of those, doing 104 damage per second, reaching out to 4.5 kilometers. Then you have the 55mm L77 Girat 58 Zwillings. You get 8 of those, doing 98 damage per second, reaching out to 5 kilometers. And then you have the 128mm 61 caliber KM40 dual-purpose secondaries that you get 20 of, doing 124 damage per second, reaching out to 5.2 kilometers. Maneuverability, as you'd expect, awful. 30 knots top speed, 1,050 meter turning circle, and a 16.5 second rudder shift. And that's after we already buffed the rudder with the steering gears. Okay? Remember, this is a Grosse Kurfürst. It just has different guns. That's it. That is literally it. It's a Grosse Kurfürst with different guns. And it has all the drawbacks of the Grosse Kurfürst too. Detectability range by sea, 13.9 kilometers. Detectability by air is 11.7. Guaranteed is always 2, and 16 kilometer smoke firing penalty. Statistics are going to be pretty awful, I'll be honest. We've got a 80% win rate. Again, small sample size, but I haven't really gotten a chance to really showcase this ship a lot. Mainly because they give these ships to us at the last possible second, and then we've got to try to scrounge together a video in like an hour. It's kind of crazy. But overall, like, I got a good feel for the ship for the most part. It's just whether or not you're going to get the games to do it. I think this thing is going to be pretty nasty in the right hands. but it's going to require a lot of people to kind of play at range. I think a lot of people are going to play this a little bit aggressive, and it's not going to work in your favor. Armor, as you'd expect, gross occur first armor. You are technically overmatchable by a Yama, but not really, because practically most of your bow is pretty hidden by that gigantic extended belt. But other than that, I mean, it's just gross occur first, right? Like, it's got a pretty beefy turtleback armor scheme. It does have those gigantic barbettes, which means you are going to lose turrets, especially the turret 2. It's very exposed, so you will likely end up losing that turret during a battle. And then, of course, your citadel. You don't usually have to worry about getting citadeled in this thing, or if it's just like the GK's Hall, then there's chance that you get some oddball citadels from time to time, but that remains to be seen. But yeah, I don't look forward to having a bunch of these things running around, but I don't think we'll have a lot of them running around for very long, because I think the average person is probably going to struggle in this ship, and yeah, it's not gonna be a fun ship for most people. Big guns. The ship is armed with high caliber main battery guns. It has 457mm guns. Okay, that means it has 18-inch guns. However, no matter what you do, you cannot change the fact that it is 457mm guns. No matter what you try to do, you will not get these to overmatch 32mm of armor. Okay? I know there are going to be people out there that'll get in their head that you can use Robert Gijard to increase the penetration and somehow that magically changes their overmatch, but I promise you it does not. I've tested it. I've showed everybody multiple times. 457s cannot overmatch 32. Keep that in mind. Only the Yamato and the Musashi can overmatch 32mm of armor at this current moment. Okay? Tough, above average base HP rating, 100,000 hit points. You can get it probably up to the same as the GK or close to it. Around the 110 to 115,000 if you really wanted to go that way. Superior AP penetration, above average AP shell penetration. So again, these shells do punch, but I would highly recommend buffing, like using Aladad and stuff to try to buff the penetration angles if you're going to use this thing. Because, again, it's not a secondary brawler type ship. This is more of a sniper battleship. You want to keep this thing at range if you can and try to get some good-looking crossfire set up. I'll be interested to see if anybody actually goes for a full range build with, like, Megatron. I don't know if anybody's going to do it, but it might be something we try at some point just to see. But that would require you to swap off your concealment and go for the RGA mod to see beyond 20 kilometers as well. But it's a lot of things that go into range builds. They're not particularly effective in World of Warships Legends because we spawn so close to one another. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you guys want to see that, maybe I'll try it out. Preußen. Early World War II lessons led to revising ships under construction to enhance their horizontal armor while keeping the draft at 11.5 meters for operations into shallow waters of the North Sea. A triple bottom and more watertight compartments were added to withstand underwater explosions. The main guns were upgraded to 18 inches, 457 millimeters, significantly boosting their firepower. Later, naval focus shifted to submarines, resulting in the halt of the construction of new battleships. She was designed in 1945. Never built. This skin actually looks pretty good on this thing, I'll be honest. I like this. I wasn't sure if I would like it, but I kind of like it. It's kind of like a retro sci-fi sort of deal. I wouldn't necessarily call it like space, but it's like retro sci-fi. I kind of like it. But overall, like, I'm not upset at this ship. I just don't think that it's going to be everything that everybody wants out of it. Because at the end of the day, like I said, at the end of the day, it is still a gross occur first. It may have very good guns, and the gross occur first problem was never that it had bad guns. The gross occur first main guns are actually pretty solid. It's just that they have terrible firing angles, which this thing inherits. The rear turrets still are awful when it comes to firing angles. But if you get past that and you start putting down some fire, like, this thing is pretty nasty. So with that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so we're going to be on Crash Zone, and we are in the Preußen. Now, like I was saying in the kind of build-up to this, You don't want to necessarily be brawling with this thing, at least not early on. Much like the GK, as much as it says it's a brawler, it's really not. It's too big, too bulky, and doesn't really do very well up close. This thing is more of a sniper. The guns are actually pretty accurate. Even when you don't use the spotter plane, you'll notice that the grouping and stuff on these guns are actually pretty good. I don't know the exact numbers. I'm sure somebody out there will put the numbers either in the description or down there in the comments or something. But I digress. The thing that surprises you about this is how little these guns actually do when they do hit something. Unless the person is dumb enough to go full broadside, a lot of the times you're just going to be nickeling and diming people. And again, this kind of is the problem with these dual turret kind of configurations. Even the Ohio, as good as the Ohio is, suffers from the same thing occasionally. Georgia, Gneisenau, all these ships have the same problem, right? They only fire, 4 guns at a time usually, because you're not always going to be able to get all broadside away. But we're going to try to take a flank, which I wouldn't normally do in a battleship, but given the way that this match kind of sets up, it makes sense to go ahead and try to take the flank and work the edge of the map. You'll see what I mean in a minute. But one of the things that's going to allow us to do is get some pretty nasty shots into some very aggressive red people. So you'll notice that there's going to be a Schlieffen get spotted over the middle of the map, and he's going to be coming into Alpha. And he wants to control Alpha, and we can't let that happen. So as you see him get spotted here, you can see he's coming in. There's no way I can get a shot over that island. One thing I will say about these shells is they are not very floaty. I don't know what the shell, like the muzzle velocity is on these things, but they seem pretty good. Unlike a lot of the other battleships at Legendary Tier, these shells seem to get to the targets relatively quickly, and that does 2 things. One, it makes it aiming easier, especially on those cruisers, which is the whole reason you bring 457mm guns into the fight anyway at Legendary Tier, is because of the overmatch for the cruisers like the Zao and you guys know, the Venezia and the Napoli and all these 30mm cruisers that love to think that they're special. But here we didn't quite lead that Schlieffen enough, but we are going to get angled away. And again, you got to anticipate these shots, right? You can't wait until they shoot at you to start changing course. You've got to start changing course as soon as you fire your gun. Now, when you're in a kiting position in this ship, you're in a much more favorable position. Despite the look, the aesthetic of everything, being able to get your rear guns firing and your front guns firing at a much better angle than if you were bow tanking. If you're bow tanking, the rear turrets have like the worst firing angles of any ship that you'll ever play. Grosser first and this share it. They have the worst firing angles for the rear turrets. And that's one of the biggest issues with the ships. Not only are they just damaged sponges, like you just get beat up on by everybody because everybody knows they can just beat you up. What are you going to do? You've got a 1,050-meter turning circle. It's not like you're going to get out the way. It's very difficult to, but look at that accuracy. Now, obviously the result isn't what we want. We only hit 2 shells, but the accuracy is there, and you can see that specifically if you can find those crossfires, like say Schlieffen, who doesn't understand that he's pushed too far, and we're about to do some window shopping. Again, same map too. Weird how that works. But we're going to do some window shopping on him, and we're gonna smack him pretty good. And that's going to freak him out. He's going to try to push forward. Now, as he goes to YOLO rush my Ohio over there, I'm going to get one more reload. And this is where this thing is going to catch a lot of people off guard. This reload is sneaky fast, right? This is Jean Bart levels of reload on an 18-inch gun, right? And we get the shot around the island and slap that man for another Citadel. But again, you're only landed 2 shells. Right? Now, some of those got eaten up by the island, but you get what I'm saying. As accurate as these shells seem to be, and as easy it is to hit the target most of the time, one of the things that you're going to notice is that you just don't land enough shells often enough. Like, despite, you'll hit them, but you'll hit them with like 1 or 2 shells, and the rest of them kind of just do nothing. They'll hit the armor or whatever. But you can see right there, we hit 4 out of 8 shells is really good. That's 50% accuracy. We'll take that. But a lot of times you're just not going to get that kind of a result. And it's not because the ship isn't accurate. It's just simply number, right? You're used to shooting 9 or 12 guns or 16 guns at legendary tier, and so like you do miss that extra gun. It doesn't seem like one gun would make that big of a difference, but when you're talking about the fact that you're getting 6 guns over the bow, that's actually having 2 guns extra, right? Make sense? I know it sounds dumb when you say it out loud that, oh, 9 guns is so much better than 8 guns. It's the way that you can utilize those 9 guns, because usually if you have 9 guns, it's because you have a 3x3 configuration. So you'll have 6 guns over the bow and then 3 over the stern, meaning that you actually technically have 2 more guns available at the front of the ship without having to give up your broadside to get the rear of the ship. Make sense? Hopefully that made sense. But I digress. Same thing with 12, 16-inch guns. The more guns, or it's not 16-inch, but 16 guns, 12 guns, 10 guns, whatever. The more guns that you have, the more stuff you're throwing at the wall, the more of it's going to stick, right? And not just that, but it's not just all about, like, the more of it's going to stick, but also it's just about the fact that, like, the more stuff you throw at the wall, sometimes you're going to get those funny little shells, you know? You're going to get those shells that just happen to find a weak spot somewhere on a ship, even if you don't necessarily aim for a weak spot, you know what I mean? But here you're going to see this Marco Polo makes a huge mistake here. He underestimates his smoke firing penalty, fires his guns, goes full broadside, and smokes up, and then I just slap him. Now, unfortunately, we don't get a Citadel there, but we still hit the man for 20k. That was 5 out of 8 shells landing on target. And again, this is kind of where you wanna be, not quite brawling, but able to, like, take advantage of broadsides where you can. You can see here, I'm going to take a blind shot just to see if I can sneak a shot with the rear turrets around the island. You never know. Miss all the shots you don't take, right? But I digress. We're going to keep pushing. I don't want to run into the island here, so we're going to turn around. You'll see that Mino gets spotted by our, well, I'm assuming it was by our Stalingrad, but apparently not. Because Stalingrad radar's from all the way in the back of the map and doesn't actually spot even the Marco Polo, so it definitely didn't spot the Mino. So it would have been the Napoli in front of us that had the Mino spotted. Now you'll notice that I hit my sonar here because I'm anticipating torpedoes. Not only from the Mino, but from the Napoli, and sure enough, there's the torps from the Napoli. I had a sneaking suspicion those were coming. Those big little sea mines that like to just sit there and be a problem. Now, I ain't gonna lie, what happens next can only be described as tragedy. This man is broadside as anybody could ever be in a Napoli. Deserves to get absolutely yeeted. But of course, in true Spartan fashion, I'm not allowed to yeet him. I hit him with 4 shells and not even a single Citadel on a broadside Napoli. That is absurd, right? Like, that's crazy. That's normally a death strike. If you catch a Napoli broadside, it's generally lights out, right? But here you can see I get ready to shoot. We're going to take a shot at the Marco Polo with the rear guns. With the front guns, we're going to go ahead and try to hit the Mino as he tries to run from behind the island. And you'll see that he does turn towards us at the last second here, and that, I thought, was his death. But no, he gets away. 3 overpins, just all the sadness. But, I mean, we may not have had any, like, craziness happen so far. But what we have done is just nickel and dimed our way up, and that's where this ship is gonna do pretty well. That fast reload and 18-inch guns is gonna play havoc on people who make mistakes. If you are in the wrong place at the wrong time, you're gonna get smacked by this thing. And again, I don't think this is a ship that the average player is gonna enjoy all that much like the GK. A good player in the GK can do good things. I personally am not a big fan of the GK because of all the reasons that I've already talked about, which is the ridiculously bad turning circle, the ridiculously bad rear firing angles. Like, it's never been about the guns for me for the GK. It's always been about the placement of those guns and being able to utilize those guns when I need them. Now, I think it's at this point that we actually lose one of our turrets. But you can see we've got a Mino shooting at us from behind the Yama. We've got the Yama there shooting at us as well. We tried to get a sneaky shot in over kind of the Yama into the Mino maybe. Didn't quite pull it off, but we tried, right? But we are going to be able to tank this, and this is one of the beauties of these ships, right? These German tanks. Like, you get into a good position where everybody's going to have to shoot at you while you're angled. They're going to be struggling unless they just farm your superstructure, which everybody knows that they can do. But as we try to get away from the Napoli here, I didn't lead the Napoli very well on that shot. Again, these are decently quick rounds, but there are some ships that are just sneakily fast, and the Napoli's one of those ships that it can be hard to judge like how fast the Napoli is actually going, and it kind of works against you sometimes. But you can see he turns away here, gets away with it. He bounce an 18-inch round right off his belt, unfortunate as it is, leaving the man with just enough to continue getting away. And you can see he actually takes hits there from the Napoli as well, and still survives. He had no hit points. I have no idea how the man's alive. But you can see that as we push around the island, we know that there's the Yama there. We know that the Mino's there. So we are going to not overextend or not commit to being broadside. We're going to just simply go bow in, push in, and take what's ours, right? At this point, it's anybody's game. Now, we have 2 destroyers. They have no destroyers. That generally leads to a win for our team. But as we take a shot here, what you're going to see is a decent salvo, two hits, 2 shatters, or 2 ricochets. Just firing up into the superstructure, taking what he gives us. I didn't want to test the pin angle on that bow because I figured there was a good chance that I'd just bounce off of it. But we're going to go for the superstructure again. We're going to get a much better shot this time, getting 3 full pins and 1 overpin. But he does hit my turret. And again, that number 2 turret, like I said, is going to be your kryptonite. You're going to lose that thing just as bad as the GK. Like, the GK is notorious for losing it as well. But here you can see I do have my sonar running because I thought maybe the Mino might be trying to get some cheeky torpedoes around the island, and I didn't want to eat some torpedoes. Now, he shoots me again, and we had just hit his superstructure again. The Napoli has come around the corner. He's going to hit us with some high explosive. He thinks he's safe out there, and just as I think about shooting him, the Yama is going to knock out my turrets real soon. But you can see as I get ready to shoot the Napoli, he gets blasted, finally getting rid of him, and then the guy ends up knocking out both front guns, destroying one and then just knocking out the other. Now at this point, he's probably thinking I'm going for the ram, but I was never going to ram him here. I will never ram a Yama. Okay, if I have a chance to go for a drive-by, I'm going for the drive-by, because there is no way that I mess up and don't kill a Yama in a drive-by. You can see he gets a little anxious, fires his guns too early. We go alongside and we just finish him off, right? We couldn't aim low enough to get the Citadel, but we didn't need the Citadel. We just needed to hit him. But 170,000 damage. Again, this ship is capable of much more, but 2,500 base XP, essentially. High caliber Dreadnought, I believe. So we did what we needed to do, and I think we did a pretty good showcase of what the goods and the bads are of the ship. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you guys think that this is going to be a great ship, or if you guys think this will be kind of one of those ships where the average player doesn't really care for it, but certain people that really love to snipe maybe will. Let me know. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.